In this video, I want to show you how you can create a group of items, or some people call this an isotype diagram of rectangles. And what it does is it represents comparison of values between different groups, in this case project status. And instead of using a graph, it uses this collection of rectangle shapes. Now, this looks like it's a lot of work to create because you have to create every single rectangle and line them up. You don't. This is actually created using a table. So let me go to my blank slide here and show you how we do this. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is we calculate approximately how many total number of rectangles or shapes we will need for the table. So I've already done that, so I need 10 by 10. So I'm going to insert a table, and it allows me to select how many cells across. So I need 10, and down I need 10. Okay. So it places the table on the slide, and it is large. We don't need it to be that large, of course, so I can make it not quite so wide, and I don't want to make it quite so tall, so I resize it. But you notice it didn't resize fully. Why wouldn't it resize fully? Well, because the height of a cell depends on the size of the font that is set for that cell. So all of these cells are set to be 14 points. So if I want the cells not to be quite so tall, I have to select all of the cells and then set the font size to, let's see, be the smallest here, 6. Now it can resize it to what I want. Now, if you want a perfect square for each of these shapes, that's actually not something that's easy to do because there's no feature in Google Slides that allows you to specify the exact size in inches or centimeters of each of those shapes. So you kind of eyeball it. That's the best you can get. So the first thing we're going to do is, once we've sized our table to be what we want it to be, is we're going to set the fill color for the different groups of these rectangles. So the first group, I'm going to highlight, let's say it's 20, so I highlight those particular cells, and I set the fill color to be, let's say, this blue. Then I've got another, let's say, 8 cells here. That's the next category. I'll set that to, let's say, this pink. And then I have a set of cells here where it'll be the orange, and I have to actually add a couple of ones there to make the total. And then the last set, maybe I only have 4 of them, and I'll set that to be, let's say, this gray. So I've set all of the fill colors, but what we want is we need them to be separated, because right now if I click outside, they're separated by these gray dividers. What we want to do is we want to set that, so I'm going to select all the cells, and I'm going to change the border. So to change a border in a table, you select the cells you want, then you use that drop down arrow at the top right and select which borders you want to change. If I want to change all the borders, both outside and inside, which is what I want to do, I'll select this first one here, which is all the borders. Now you can set the color of that line, so I'll set it to be white, which will create that separation, and I'll set the thickness. Usually I'll set 2 or 3 pixels wide, because 1 pixel I find isn't big enough. So I'm going to set it to 3 pixels, and now you can see I've created that diagram, which is a group of shapes. Now I can add my labels up top as text boxes, but I've done it quickly and easily using a table. When you use a professional tool like PowerPoint as your presentation tool, you have more features. The table has a lot more features. It's easy to set it to be exactly a square because it allows you to set the size of the height and the width of each of the cells. So you have more flexibility when you start to use professional presentation software.